Okay, we are going to get started. I am going to make sure everybody's muted and we are going to get started with this workshop today. It is a 60-minute workshop. Some of you may be watching the recording of this and working through the worksheet on your own time, which is perfectly fine. I am going to pull up the worksheet link and I'm going to drop that in the chat. So if you need to download that, you can do so. Let me grab it. Okay. So I've just dropped the worksheets in the chat and I'm so excited to get started. So today's workshop, we are going to be working through 3 myths that are blocking you from your weight loss goals. Okay. But before we jump in to the training, I'm going to tell y'all 3 things about me, about myself. So the first thing is that I am a full-time work from home mom of 4 kids. I have 3 boys and a girl ranging from ages 10 all the way down to 1. So we are very busy. The second thing about me is that I run a full-time nutrition coaching business from my house. And I'm coaching mostly women, but sometimes their husbands too. And I'm coaching people every single day to find happiness and to find contentedness. Yes, happiness. While yes, we do focus on health and nutrition and education and exercise, what I'm really doing every single day is inspiring my clients to believe in themselves every single day, to believe and rewrite the story that they tell themselves so that they can really change the legacy of health for their families. And so they can feel confident from the grocery store aisles all the way to the hallways of their kids' schools. The third thing about me, which you might find interesting, is that until 2020, I actually had never consistently worked out or dieted or done anything healthy in my life. I had never been a health person until 2020. I had never exercised consistently. I mean, my workout history was essentially signing up at a gym and then freezing my account 1 month later, or signing up at the bar studio and, canceling my membership after a month because I never could show up. I was living on stress, 3 p.m. naps, fast food, and Diet Coke every single day until the year of 2020. I was truly surviving and not thriving. And the reason I tell you this is because I want you to be encouraged that I'm not this healthy girl who's just been into health and nutrition and fitness my whole life. This is something that has become a new passion of mine in the last 4 years because of the way that it changed my life. And until the year 2020, I wasn't healthy. And that's the year that I found the faster way to fat loss. And that's the year that I dove headfirst into my health journey that truly changed my life. And nearly 4 years later, I have literally not looked back. So today we are talking about beliefs. We're talking about mindset shifts. We are talking about the myths that we hear and believe about what it takes to lose weight. In the email that I sent with the recording, I sent you worksheet PDFs. So I would love for you to open those. We're going to be working through those worksheets in the next hour. I also dropped the worksheet in the chat if you need that link here. So if you have ever heard, change your thoughts, change your life, I want you to drop a 1 in the chat. Change your thoughts and then your life will change. You just have to change the way that you think. If you've ever heard that, I would want you to drop a 1 in the chat. We truly want, as humans, our actions each day to be in alignment with our goals. But this is like way easier said than done, right? Like you likely know that you need to eat healthy and you need to exercise in order to reach your weight loss goals, right? Like you know that, you know what actions to take. So why don't you take them? It is likely because of your beliefs, deep-rooted beliefs, how you talk to yourself, the way you talk to yourself, the way you think. This influences how you feel about everything. In this case, we're talking about how you feel about what it takes to lose weight. And those thoughts and feelings influence the action or the lack of action that you end up taking, right? If you threw up in a workout class when you were like 19, if you were like 19, threw up in a workout class, it was really hard, you never work out, that experience still lives with you. This could have been something that happened when you were 10. Maybe you were running on the track at school when you were 10 years old and you almost passed out from heat exhaustion. We carry those experiences with us, and those experiences instill beliefs in us about certain things. So maybe you hate exercise because of an experience that you've had in your past, or maybe you hate exercise because of something your mom said when you were growing up. But that experience makes you believe a certain thing about working out. And that belief makes the thought of working out feel hard. That makes you think that it's hard. So that makes you feel like it's too hard and you don't want to do it. And that those beliefs and those thoughts and those feelings about exercise cause you not to do it. It all starts with our beliefs. Maybe for you, it did start with your mom. Maybe, or you're a caretaker in your house. Maybe anybody have a mom who dieted your whole life and was always trying to get skinnier. Maybe she even made comments about your weight or about your size, which influenced the way that you believe about your body and how bodies should look and how weight loss should be happening. Does that feel familiar? Beliefs influence our thoughts and feelings, and these is what influences our actions, and a lot of times our inaction, our lack of action, right? So what myths are you believing about weight loss? First, we want to define what a myth is, okay? So a myth is a widely held but false belief or idea. A widely held means a lot of people believe it, but it's a false belief or idea. But that's the draw, right? That's why we believe these things, because they are so widely held. So many people believe them. That's why we follow these beliefs. That's why we follow these ideas. A lot of people think it. A lot of people speak it. A lot of people portray it with their actions in their lives, right? We see airbrushed celebrities and People magazine. We see genetically blessed fitness gurus on social media posing. We see bloggers on these like beautiful, amazing vacations, owning perfectly curated homes with the custom window treatments and everything. And we get conditioned to believe that this is where happiness is found. Skinnier body, more money, bigger house, better vacation, happiness and joy. That equals happiness and joy. Maybe you know that that isn't the truth deep down, but it doesn't keep us from pursuing it. It doesn't keep you from chasing it. It doesn't keep you from posting the pics on your family vacation that looks seemingly perfect, because you want other people to view you that way too. But what you need to know is that these are myths. Those happy people that you see on social media are the ones that are going through tough spots in their marriage, having affairs, getting divorced, struggling with mental health. Their children are, they're having struggles with their children. They're getting into trouble. They're humans. It's just the highlight reel, right? That you're seeing that you think is what you need in order to feel happy because they look like they're really happy. So why do we chase skinny instead of chasing true health? Because spoiler alert, they aren't the same. Skinny does not equal healthy. And that really brings us to our first myth. So many of you think that the smallest version of you is the healthiest version of you. And that's our first myth. Bodies come in all shapes and sizes. My mother-in-law and my sister-in-law are my same height. We are all 5'5". One is 65, one is 36. and they both weigh a solid 20 pounds less than me. I will likely never weigh 20 pounds less than I do now. My 5'5" body was not designed to weigh 120 pounds, right? That for me would be a very unhealthy weight. For them, it works for them. They've always been smaller framed people. They are both healthy. But for me, I'm not supposed to be 120 pounds. If I forced 20 pounds off of my body, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to deplete my vitamins and minerals further. That is going to lead to skin issues, hair falling out. I'm going to lose lean muscle mass when I lose those 20 pounds. That's going to slow down metabolism, which slowing down my metabolism is what's going to cause a higher chance of major weight gain as I age. I actually would have to eat less and less food over time in order to maintain that 20-pound weight loss. So goodbye to fun vacations, dinners out, my beloved iced lattes. There's a strong chance I would lose my menstrual cycle on a monthly basis. I would be really hungry. I would have a very poor quality of life, and workouts would feel really hard, if not impossible for me. But I would be skinny. I would be like really skinny. So like that would be good. In order to debunk this myth, we first need to come up with why you want to be skinnier. Why do you want to lose weight? We need to define what your why is. So I want you to pull out your worksheets. I am going to share my screen, and I'm going to pull up the first worksheet. So if you don't have your worksheet pulled up, if you want to just pull out a pen and paper, I'm going to pull up the first worksheet, and I want you to answer these questions. I'm going to give you 3 to 5 minutes to fill in the answers to these questions. And if you feel called, I would love for you to drop some of your answers in the chat. If you feel led, you can either privately message them to me or send it to the whole group. I would love to hear kind of what your why is. So let me share my screen. Screen. And then we are going to view slideshow. Here we go. So how healthy girls talk, myth 1. The skinniest version of you is the healthiest version. Oops. So we are going to stay on this screen, and I want you to read through these questions, and I want you to answer. Actually, I think it's going to, since it's in the slideshow, let me enter full screen. There we go. Okay. So take a minute, 3 to 5 minutes, answer these questions, and then we are going to chat. If you want to put some of your answers in the chat, I would also love to hear them. Okay, just about one more minute. Okay. I'm going to share some of my answers with you. I would love for you to pop your answer in the chat if you feel led. I'm not going to go on all of them, but as far as current health goal for me, my big one is to have a lot of energy and just feel really good every single day. I would say something hard that I deal with on a daily basis right now is just a little bit of exhaustion from 4 kids, and I'm not newly postpartum. He's 1 now, but I'm still breastfeeding, and so I'm kind of still recovering from being depleted after that stage. But the way that I hope my life looks different than it looks today once I've achieved this goal is that I want to wake up in the morning and I want to hop out of bed and I want to have energy to go on an early walk before my kids wake up. I want to not have to rely on coffee throughout the day to have energy. I want to have a lot of energy at 5 o'clock to cook dinner for my family, and not just rely on takeout or ordering food or making sandwiches because I'm exhausted. And if I could wave a magic wand and fast forward to the future me, what does she do each day? She does get up early in the morning. She walks, she has energy, she fixes herself lunch, she puts herself first. She influences those around her to join in the health journey. She has so much energy at night. She's not snapping at her kids in the morning and at dinner time because of exhaustion. And I don't know about y'all, but in order to accomplish those goals, I don't need to be skinnier. I need to be healthy, right? So let's stop the share for a minute, and I'm going to tell y'all a little story. In May of 2018, so gosh, that's like 5 years ago, I took a trip to 30A beach with a couple girlfriends. And at that time, I weighed the least amount I have weighed since high school. I was 29, it was 5 years ago. And I remember posting pictures in my bikini on social media, and so many people were complimenting me on how good I looked. Look at those abs. And I thought at the time, like, oh, I'm so healthy. But was I? Was I healthy? So here's a peek at what was happening on the inside. I was drinking this appetite suppressant coffee every day that made me feel like I was on Adderall or like speed or something. It would make me not eat all day until maybe I would eat like one meal later in the day. So yes, I was skinny, but I also was struggling to make it through a whole day of work. I had literally nothing left to give my kids at the end of the day. And I only had 2 at that point. Those calories that you're restricting on these diets contain more than just calories. They contain the potassium, the magnesium, the vitamin C, the sodium that your body needs to function. Very vital minerals and vitamins, right? I was skinny fat. I had 0 definition. I had no muscle tone, something that would take years to get back because the weight that I lost was all muscle mass. My periods were so irregular. They were like every 40 plus days, which is not normal. Healthy people have healthy, normal cycles. But I thought what I wanted was to be skinny, but I was literally living inside the shell of a body that couldn't do anything for myself. The skinny body. It couldn't do any of those things that I shared with you. It wasn't waking up early, taking walks. It wasn't putting myself first. It didn't have energy to cook dinner for my kids at 5 o'clock. It didn't have energy to do workouts. There was no workouts being done at that time. I was too exhausted. Is that healthy? Is that what health is? What is healthy to you? If you look at a few definitions of the word healthy, none of them say anything about skinny, about losing weight, about dieting, about shrinking yourself, about weighing less. They say things like not diseased. They say things like feeling good, having energy. So how many of you currently think,
Yeah.
how many of you currently think that you will be a happier human every day if you achieved your health and your weight loss goals? More happy, more confident. You want it to be fast, right? The faster you lose weight and reach your goals, the faster you will fit in the clothes, look a certain way, be happier, right? Maybe you feel sad right now with where you are in your body and on your health journey. And that's why you want the weight loss to be fast. You need it to happen really fast because you desire that new and that better feeling so much, right? It feels hard. It feels hard. I had a client recently who was 5 months postpartum, and she had lost some weight on her journey with me. She had lost a lot of inches, a lot of weight. She had some what we call non-scale victories, more energy, but she was feeling really down on herself that she hadn't made more progress. She was breastfeeding. 5 months postpartum, in my opinion, is pretty early to be expecting drastic weight loss. We normally don't even start the weight loss process postpartum until 4 to 6 months. But she had made a lot of change. And so she was really down on herself. And so I was like, let's talk about this. I said, where do you really want to be? And she's like, well, before I was pregnant, this is what I weighed. And I'm like, okay. And so that's your goal. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, how did you feel about yourself when you were that weight, when you had that body? And she was like, not good. She was like, I always felt like I was too big. I still needed to lose weight. I wasn't happy, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, so you're telling me that right now you're not happy, but when you also weighed way less, the goal that you're working towards now, you also weren't happy then, right? You're telling me that. And she said, oh my gosh, yes. So it's important to understand that the weight loss is not what gives us happiness. You're in such a rush to lose the weight by like XYZ date. You're chasing the feeling you think you will have when you lose the weight, which is why you're in a rush. Maybe like there's a vacation or a class reunion or a wedding and you need to drop weight fast so that you'll feel better about yourself. So that's the belief shift that you need to make. That's the myth. There's no rush because the feeling you're chasing isn't in losing 15 pounds. The feeling you're chasing is in keeping promises to yourself. Making a lifestyle change takes time. It's a 2-degree shift, a little bit at a time. There's no finish line. There's no rush. There's no deadline. Your journey is not linear. It's not up, 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 up. Or I guess in this case, you're losing weight, down, 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 down. Failing along the way is actually good because you learn from failure. I think something that's really interesting is that we as humans love to have something to look forward to, right? Like losing 15 pounds. So you like embark on this journey and you're like fired up because you have this goal, right? And then when you reach the goal, you realize like life's actually not better with 15 less pounds. It's like you still have the same life problems. You still deal with the same stuff every single day. And so subconsciously, it's like you want to have something to look forward to. So you revert back, gain the weight, and then you have that hope again that like you'll lose it again, right? There's a book called The Gap in the Gain that I was reading recently, and it talks about how we set goals, but even when we achieve them, we aren't happy. We are constantly in pursuit of the next goal, the ideal happiness. And ideal happiness isn't it's standing where we are now and looking at where we started and realizing what we have now is what we were in pursuit of. That's ideal happiness. And taking the timeline away and telling yourself that there is no rush and believing that. I really need you to hear this right now. Happiness comes from who you become on your way to your goal. Jordan Peterson, in his 12 Rules for Life, talks about how happiness is a pointless goal to pursue because it is fleeting. It is temporary. It's a temporary state that is dependent on external circumstances. Instead, he argues that individuals should focus on developing virtues and personal responsibility, which will lead to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. He also emphasizes that happiness should be viewed as a byproduct of pursuing one's values and goals rather than actually achieving the goal itself, the ultimate goal. It's the pursuit. We are all going to have moments of unhappiness. So does that mean we fail if you're not happy all the time? True satisfaction comes from personal responsibility to yourself, not playing victim to your circumstances, your genetics, your PCOS, your thyroid disease, your prediabetes. Stop playing victim to the fact that your husband isn't helpful when it comes to dieting or that your kids have a busy schedule. You give those things all your power when you use them as your excuses. You are ultimately in charge of how your life goes, you and God. You have to find the joy in the journey and who you become along the way and how you feel about yourself, taking personal responsibility and keeping promises to yourself along the way. You find joy in that instead of saying you won't be happy until the end goal comes. What would it be like if you stopped avoiding what you knew you needed to do? Your fears, exposing yourself to things that you're avoiding, that you're afraid of, that, this is teaching you how to stand up in the face of things that you are afraid of. That's how you grow. It doesn't get easier as you go either. You get stronger as you go. And I think it's important to ask yourself questions like, what makes me think that I don't need to have restraint, that I don't need to sacrifice, that I don't need to take responsibility, that it needs to be easy? What makes you think that everything in life needs to feel easier or should feel easier? Why is it being hard a reason to not lean in? Because leaning into hard things, uncomfortable things, is where you grow. This first belief shift about why diets haven't worked for you in the past, maybe your story is that you've had a fear of macros, a fear of tracking food, or a hatred of exercise, and that's holding you back. But what you need to know is that these stories can change. And this is really what brings me to the second myth, which is that losing weight is so hard. It feels impossible. The struggle is real. I want you to know that losing weight doesn't have to be the hardest thing that you ever do. But it also, you need to know and ask yourself, why do I feel like it needs to be so simple and easy? We as humans spend a lot of time on the path of least resistance. What feels the easiest? How do you feel when something is hard? I want you to drop in the chat a 1 if you're like, bring it on. And if you're like, actually no, like hard no, hard pass, put a 2 when something feels hard. The definition of hard is requiring a great deal of endurance or effort, putting a lot of effort into an activity. But are you putting forth the wrong kind of effort? Are you putting all your energy into working out when that's not going to move the needle? Are you putting all of your energy into your kids' 10 practices and games weekly while you eat ballpark food daily? What kind of image are you portraying to your kids about how an adult should live and how an adult should take care of themselves? Doing the hard thing is how you learn. Doing hard things can mean very different things. A hard thing that we did this year was knocking down our kids to 1 activity apiece, because we had our kids in 3-4 activities apiece, at least my older boys, and we were running ourselves ragged, which left very little time for us to focus on our own health and our own, well-being, right? And that's what so many parents and women tell me in my DMs, that they don't have time for their health because they have such busy schedules with their kids. You all just wrote down your whys. You answered that questionnaire. You discovered why you really want to lose weight, your ultimate life goals that you want to accomplish. So maybe you need weight loss to be simple and easy and not hard. But what you want to know is like, are you willing to put forth a great deal of effort to accomplish the goal? If you want to be more joyful and have clothes that fit you and not feel bloated and puffy, if you want to have more energy for your 2 daughters, are you willing to put forth a great deal of effort to accomplish that? Do you disagree that putting a lot of energy in those kind of activities needed to lose weight and reach your goal is wrong? What are you exerting all your energy on? So I had somebody in my DMs who responded to one of my polls about this. And I said, do you think it needs to be easy? Do you think, your weight loss journey needs to be easy? And she said, yes, I need it to feel easy. I work out all the time, but I can't lose weight. It should be easier. I hate having to weigh food and log everything. All of it is overwhelming to me. The planning, the shopping, the cooking. I have always struggled with figuring out what to make for dinner for the family, but I want to eat queso and I want to have margaritas. It's so hard to accept that no matter how much I work out, I just can't eat what I want when I want. I hate having to put so much thought into meal planning. She said, I just want to feel comfortable in my own skin and not embarrassed by how I look. She said she won't even wear shorts in 100-degree weather. She said, I don't have time for anything but work and running my child around to school and activities. I exercise probably 5 hours a week. I'm exhausted all the time. And I think that plays into not wanting to meal plan and cook. So there was a few aha moments for me when I read that all her energy is put into her job and running her kid around to school and activities. And she's so exhausted by those things that she can't focus on her own health journey. She doesn't want it to feel hard. But here's the thing you have to remember, life is 50-50. We as humans are constantly chasing more ease, more joy, more happiness, more simplicity. But the truth is that it's not always sunshine. It is hard. Sometimes you have to do the hard things, log your macros, track your food, meal plan, because those things will make your life easier later. It's not supposed to feel easy all the time. There actually is this like major misconception in life that things are not supposed to feel hard. But if everything was always easy, what would we have to work towards? How many of you have like a task that you procrastinate on? And instead of like doing the task, I mean, it could be anything like emptying the dishwasher. Instead of doing it, you go to the kitchen and you eat, you get a snack, or you avoid the laundry and the dishes and you pour a glass of wine instead at night, or you avoid the work that you need to do and you watch porn. That's what humans do, right? We as humans avoid hard so much and search for ease. Scrolling TikTok feels a lot easier than doing a workout and meal prepping. But is scrolling TikTok or watching 4 hours of Netflix late at night when you should be sleeping, is that going to help you reach those goals that you wrote down? I just completed a challenge that I put on myself of no caffeine, and I made it 12 days, and it was really hard. There was a point on day 8 where I was like, okay, this isn't that big of a deal. I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to go get a latte because it's going to make my life feel easier in this moment. But then I was like, no, Emily, you made a promise to yourself that you were going to do this hard thing, and quitting after only 8 days, just because it feels hard in this moment, it's not who I am. The reasons behind doing it are more important than feeling good in that moment. That latte wasn't going to make my life feel easier, maybe for 30 minutes, and then the same problems are there. It's time for us to take responsibility for how you want to feel. It's time to stop being the victim of your life. You are ultimately in charge of how you want to feel and how you want to look. Hardships, hard things often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. Hard things, hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. With my health journey, there was a point where I was like in it for a year or so. This was like 4 years ago when I started. And I was thinking, gosh, like, so this is like how I'm going to have to eat for like the rest of my life. Am I going to go all in? Am I going to turn back? And now that I'm in this thing 4 years into this health journey, I look back and I can fully remember the feeling of like, I just want to go out to eat and I just want to order 4 appetizers without worrying about my weight, and being like so bummed in that moment that like that wasn't an option if I wanted to reach my goals. And now 4 years later, my belief has shifted so much. And I know that those are myths so much that I literally choose to like take an Epsom salt detox bath on Friday night, cook dinner at home, and drink a mineral mocktail instead of a margarita. Like, I do that a lot. It didn't happen in 3 months. It didn't happen in 6 months. It didn't happen in a year. It didn't really even happen in 2 years. It's been little by little over the last 4 years. I weighed the pros and cons for sure. Do I actually want to do this for the rest of my life? It would be so much easier just to stop now. What I know now, though, is that at that time in year 1, I was so focused on weight loss I was so focused on the goal. Am I actually going to get there and stay there? Am I going to lose the weight and then stay there? This is hard work. Am I going to really commit this much energy to my health forever? Instead of focusing so much on the end result, the scoreboard, like where I was going, I got really busy playing the game, and I got really good at playing the game. I have learned that through this journey, there are some times where I'm going to miss out. And that is only bad if I make it mean that. If I make the missing out mean it's bad. I sometimes miss out now for something greater and better later. Those goals that you wrote down, sometimes you have to trade comfort right now for comfort later. But why do we make that mean it's bad? Why is it a bad thing? Truly ask yourself. I started playing the game of being a healthy girl. I started viewing the tracking macros, the 10,000 steps a day, the workouts, the planning, the meal prepping as just the same as training and practicing for the game. Just like people who play sports, they play the game, but there's some training and there's some practice that has to happen before. A lot of you are considering other diets right now, and you're like, okay, which one is going to be the easiest to follow? The easiest way will not be the most sustainable way. You actually can learn to love what it takes. And I want you to hear that so loudly right now. That even though right now it doesn't feel like you love what it takes, it doesn't feel like the hard work is going to be fun, and it feels like it's going to be hard for the rest of your life, and it's always going to feel hard. I want you to hear that you can learn to love the hard work, to love what it takes. You may have to miss out, you may have to sacrifice, but you can learn to love that. I love my quiet time on Friday nights, because what I found out is that going out to eat on Friday nights and having a margarita and escaping into the chips and queso bowl really was just me trying to escape my life. I was using the weekends to escape the life I had instead of using the weekends to build the life that I wanted, to create the life that I wanted. You can have fun. You can be happy without drinking every weekend. You can have fun. You can be happy without the endless baskets of chips and queso on Friday nights. You can have fun and you can be happy without binging on the barbecue on Saturday at your friend's house. You can still go, but like binging on alcohol and the barbecue food is not what makes you happy. If you do feel like you need those things to have fun, you maybe need to start reevaluating what makes you happy. Right now in the world, there is literally an attack on excellence. In a world where mediocrity is the norm, pursuing personal excellence for yourself is literally like an act of rebellion, because mediocrity is how most of society lives. But you can actually transcend the ordinary, and you can embrace the most extraordinary version of you. Truly. Excellent people learn to love the struggle. Being on this journey for you, it's not just a diet. It is a way to lose weight. It's not just a way to lose weight. It's a way of personal development. It requires you to be so aware of yourself, aware of your feelings. It requires you to not be mindless. It requires you to be mindful. Discipline, true discipline, requires you to be at a level that you've never been before. And if you are not embracing the hard now, I'm telling you that you are just delaying the hard. If not being at your goal now is hard, how much harder is it going to be if you don't make a change? How much harder is it going to be when you don't reach those goals that you wrote down? You're just delaying the hard. Are you playing to win with your health, or are you playing to participate in your health? I'm just going to do this for a while until I lose weight, and then I'm going to go back to what I was doing before. Are you playing to participate until you can turn back and go back to what you're doing? Or will you keep going? Will you train and practice until you win? I'm going to have to eat healthy forever if I keep this going. Why does that have to be bad? Get immersed in playing the game. Become excellent. Play to win. You can learn to love it. You can love living a healthy life. You can be the type of person that doesn't need to feel like giving up sweets is a bad thing. You don't need to eat sweets in order to feel better about yourself. And you can be a person that doesn't need that. I want you to believe that really, really deep down, that you don't need to be a person that relies on external things to make you feel better. You can be happy right now. You can pursue excellence right now. You can pursue true health. We are going to move on to the second page of your worksheet now, where we're going to focus on shifting these beliefs, these thoughts, and changing a deeply held belief that you have about yourself can really seem like impossible. The idea of thinking like the opposite of what you currently think feels like super wild and like unimaginable, truly. So it actually sometimes feels really hard to shift a thought, like change your thoughts, change your mind, or change your life, right? But like if you hate working out, it's hard to just shift that to like, I love working out, right? Because you don't. So it's hard to change that thought. Or like, I hate vegetables to like, I love vegetables, right? So you need to take tolerable steps, right? Tolerable steps. So we're going to use a thought ladder, which is a simple tool to help you go from repeating a limiting belief, something you tell yourself, I hate working out, I hate working out, I hate vegetables, I hate vegetables. Or maybe it's like, I can never do this, I could never be consistent, or my genetics are completely against me. Whatever your limiting belief is, that's not letting you get to your goal. You can shift that through the use of a thought ladder. A thought ladder is going to allow you to shift your thinking in small, meaningful increments, tolerable steps, right? So the process is fairly straightforward. I want you to start by asking yourself 2 questions. What is a current thought I'm having about my health? And what is the thought that I'd like to have instead? What is a current thought I'm having? What is a thought that I'd like to have instead? And a thought ladder is how we're going to go from thinking the current thought to thinking something new. It actually creates the pathway for you to travel towards your goal thoughts. So the answer to the second question is your goal thought. So if you want to go to your goal sheet and write, whatever you wrote down, like, what do you want to think about yourself that you don't believe yet? So I am going to pull up the second page of the worksheet, and that's not the right thing. Stop share. Where is this? Here we go. Where is this? Oh, here we go. Okay. Can y'all see that? Screen sharing is paused. I don't know why. Oh, here we go. Resume share. Why is this not sharing the right thing? Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. I don't know why this is saying it's paused. Technical difficulty. Let's see. Your screen sharing is paused. Stop share. Share screen. Here we go. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so we are going to look at this second page. So just disregard myth 3. This is a thought ladder. So your thought goes at the bottom. So if you have a plain piece of paper, if you don't have the worksheet printed out, I want you to put your current thought at the bottom. So the example on the left is kind of mine. I hate the way my body looks. It's a little drastic. I don't hate the way my body looks, but it's just to show you the example. Maybe it's like, I don't love fully the way my body looks. So then you move up the ladder. So like, you want to focus on intermediate thoughts where you have a goal thought and you have a thought you're trying to get to, and you come up with intermediate thoughts in between. So I'm open to the idea of liking how my body looks. It's possible that I could love how my body looks. I can learn to love how my body looks. I don't yet know how to, but I can learn how my body looks. Or maybe it's just, I don't love how my body looks yet. You're coming up with an intermediate thought, right? So I put, it's possible I'm being hard on myself about this. I'm open to seeing this differently. The next thought is, there are some things I like about my body, and there's other things that I could learn to accept. The next one is accentuating the things I like about my body makes me feel better about myself. And the final goal thought is that I feel good about my body and what it does for me every day. Bodies come in all shapes and sizes. No bodies are perfect. And really where this comes from for me is that I have stretch marks from my first baby on my hips and on my butt. I have cellulite on my butt. I have a hernia that makes my belly button poke out. I have diastasis recti that separates my abs. I have saggy breasts from breastfeeding 4 kids. There's lots of things about my body that I don't love. But my body does so many good things for me. There are parts of my body that I love. And so you can move up the thought ladder of, not picking yourself apart. And it can be about anything, if it's like you hate exercising or that you don't have time to, eat, meal prep or whatever it is, like write down your current thought. I'm going to give y'all like 3 minutes to do this. And then I want you to create thoughts. And the idea is that you focus on the next rung thought for a period of time until that feels like your new truth. And then you move to the next one and you slowly start shifting your belief about something until you're at the goal thought. So I'm going to give y'all, like I said, 3 minutes, and then we will keep going. Okay. Finish that up after the call. If you have not finished, we're going to keep moving on to myth 3. The idea with the thought ladder is, like I said, you just move from one rung to the next and you keep repeating that. Put it on your mirror in your bathroom, put it on your car, think, what your current thought is, and until you believe it, and then move to the next thought. And then before you know it, you'll be at your goal thought. And that is a great way to shift from one belief, a limiting belief, to one that really feels far away right now for you. Okay. So one thing that's really important to remember as you're on your health journey is that it's not that it gets easier as you go. It's that you get stronger as you go. And that brings me to the third myth, which is that the hardest part is getting started, is getting to day one on the health journey. How many of you have said, like, I'm starting on Monday, like 70,000 times, right? The idea of making necessary life changes can be really daunting because you're like contemplating the change, like losing weight, and then you have to take action to make the change. And like there's that middle part where it's like the preparation in between contemplating it and then taking the action. And there's that preparation. And that's the stage where like you're considering all the barriers to your success that you're going to encounter. So like I asked on my Instagram story yesterday, I think, or maybe it was today, I can't remember. And I said, like, why does getting to day one feel daunting? Why does that feel so hard? And I want to share some of the things people said. So someone said, feels like I'm giving up things I enjoy, treats that keep me going on long days and weeks. Starting indicates action. The action is being hindered by the overwhelm from the planning and the design of that you're going to have to do. There's a lot of unknown when starting something new. And also you're giving up bad habits like chocolate before bed or soft drinks. So a lot of people are worried about giving up things, and a lot of people are worried about the unknown, right? A lot of people are worried about, just the overwhelm of starting and feeling like you have to actually like to make all this action, right? Confucius said, it does not matter how slow you go as long as you do not stop. So if anybody deals with self-sabotage here, where, like I had somebody in my DMs tell me last week that she tries to eat healthy, but as soon as she cheats and has the cookie, she feels like a failure and she eats the whole pantry. Like, screw it, right? You have to shift out of this all or nothing mindset. And I'm pretty sure one of you said that earlier. I go hard for 2 to 3 weeks and then I quit because I fail, right? Or you think you fail. But you have to shift from that all or nothing mindset, right? That binging that happens is a result of restricting too much, because that's what you've been taught works. Restrict calories, lose weight, reach your goals, right? But it's not that simple. Your lack of consistency on diets is very often not your fault. It's that you don't know. You haven't been taught. What's important to know is that you don't have to follow every principle 100% of the time. You don't have to complete the strategy perfectly every day to see progress. It is a 2-degree shift that you need. The 2-degree shift, focusing on 1 to 2 new things that you can do consistently, creates confidence. And because you're keeping promises to yourself in a way that feels manageable, because you're just shifting 2 degrees, that confidence that you feel, that creates momentum. And when you show yourself that you can do this, you can focus on, 7 to 8 hours of sleep, 80% of the week. You can hit your step goal consistently. Your brain says, see, you can do this. So then you add in, okay, this week I'm going to focus on hitting my protein goal. And when that feels consistent, you add in the 1 to 2 workouts per week. And before you know it, a year has passed and you are transformed. You're unrecognizable. But it's that timeline thing, right? That comes back in, where you don't want to work on this for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years, for 4 years or 5. I'm going on year 5 soon. You want to give it 4 to 5 months of halfway doing it. And when your body isn't drastically different after 10 plus years of yo-yo dieting, you give up because you're in a rush, because you want that happy feeling that you think is on the other side of your weight loss goal. This belief shift starts with knowledge. This myth, debunking this myth, starts with knowledge. Knowing how your body works instills belief, because it's literally science. Your body's not broken, but how long did it take for you to get to where you are right now? How many years have you tried to do the same diet off and on again? Did you lose quick weight? Did you keep it off? Looks like your fast way to lose weight isn't so fast after all if you gained it back, right? You didn't get to where you are now in a few weeks. You didn't gain the weight in a few months. You've likely been dieting for years. I did a poll on my story a couple months ago, and 90% of the 300 plus people who answered it said they've been dieting for 10 or more years. And this right there, that poll answer is the exact reason why the fastest way to lose weight is to do it slowly. Because you lose weight and you maintain it. And then you lose some more and you maintain that. Maybe the pounds come off slower. Maybe the first few months you're just focused on feeling better and keeping those promises to yourself, right? But when you aren't focused on going from 0 to 100 and you take it in small bites, all of a sudden it becomes enjoyable enough to stick with it. So you actually keep going. The weight stays off. All of a sudden losing weight slowly is actually much faster than yo-yo dieting with the fads that promise fast weight loss. You adapt that progress over perfection mindset. You ditch the all or nothing mindset. You remove the timeline. Starting doesn't have to feel like the hardest part. And that's why it's the third myth. It doesn't have to mean that you give up everything that you love. You give up the treats. You have to, give up the life you once knew. You don't have to be overwhelmed by everything at all at once. Starting can mean something so different. So I want to look at worksheet 3. I want you to read through this checklist. And what we're going to do is pick 3 things. I want you to pick 3 things that you're going to start right now to start making that 1 to 2 degree shift that you need to make. Picking 3 things, that is starting. That is starting. Now, this list is not an all comprehensive list of like every health thing possible, but these are things that I have implemented over the last 4 years, very slowly, not all at once. And I, to this day, don't do every single one of these things daily or even weekly. I'm always a work in progress. So I'm going to share my screen to show you all this again. We're going to look at that checklist, and I want you to pick 3 things, right? So, plugging your phone in the bathroom at night to get sleep, like stop scrolling for 2 hours before bed, getting in a 20-minute walk. And as soon as you wake up each day, the sunlight hitting your eyes, your bare retinas, not with sunglasses, helps with circadian rhythm. And so you get better sleep. Eating 30 grams of protein at your first meal every day helps with your body being able to build muscle, protein muscle synthesis. Don't eat carbs naked. Do a 30-minute weightlifting workout twice a week. Hit a 10,000 step goal daily this week. No coffee for the first hour upon waking, and have it with breakfast, because that helps with your adrenals and your body not running on stress hormones. Stress hormones is what causes you to be in the pantry binging. No blue light screens after 8 p.m. Put your phone away, plug it into the bathroom. Like I said, take a walk without your phone, without AirPods, quiet walk by yourself alone, which will help regulate your nervous system. A regulated nervous system is a lot more likely to stick to a routine and be consistent than someone that's dysregulated. Eat 3 full meals each day for the next week that have protein, a healthy fat, and a fiber. I gave some examples there. And the last one is to join me for a 6-week round of my program. I want to tell y'all a quick little anecdote. Has anyone ever read like Baby Wise? If you've never read Baby Wise, is kind of old. That's like my time. But like the new one is like Moms on Call. And it's like a schedule, like with your kid, like how to get them sleeping through the night. In the back of the book in Baby Wise and Moms on Call, there's like a written schedule for each stage of your kid's life, like the way, what it is. And I have so many friends who will tell me that Baby Wise didn't work for them because they didn't actually read the book. They just opened the thing and followed the schedule. Or something I shared on my story today was, have you ever like wanted the answers to a test, like in college or high school so badly? And you didn't want to like actually learn the material. You just wanted the answers. If you ever did that and you had the answers to the test, like, did you actually learn what was on the test? Did you actually learn anything about the subject matter you were in the class for? No, right? When you just have the answers to the test, when you just have the schedule, the checklist to follow, you're not actually learning. You're not actually getting that knowledge. These people that are following the schedule and saying, oh, Baby Wise doesn't work for me. And I'm like, did you read the book? And they say, no, they just followed the schedule. They don't have the knowledge behind why a schedule is the way to go. Knowledge instills belief. I don't want you to view this checklist as the answers to the test. As, oh, well, Emily gave us like this whole exactly what to do. Like on this call, she told us like, oh, we just follow this checklist and like, this is what we have to do. You could actually learn how your body works. You could actually play to win. You could do the full program. You could invest in yourself. You could learn why I put all of these things on the checklist. why you need to wait an hour to drink coffee in the morning, or why getting light in your eyes upon waking is important for sleep and circadian rhythm. Knowledge of how your body works, knowledge is power. How does your body work? How does metabolism work? How do you increase your metabolic rate to burn more calories each day? How do you care for adrenals and hormones and stress in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s, 50s, 60s, premenopausal, postmenopausal, menopausal? How do you care for your body? Having that knowledge about how your body works is what instills the belief to actually follow this checklist, to follow through. And this is what you get when you go all in with Faster Way, with me as your coach. You get knowledge. The first 6 weeks, we cover the foundations, the basics. You practice, you fail, you do hard things, you grow. Through my monthly VIP program, you gain access to group coaching calls with me twice monthly. They're live, and I will be reiterating this mindset work, like similar to what was on this call, over and over and over again. We work through these mental blocks. I bring in experts from my therapist to my functional medicine practitioner to hormone experts and head trainers. You can text me when you need as a VIP client. You gain access to my weekly office hours where you can get on Zoom with me to ask me one-on-one questions. You gain belief in yourself, belief in the program. You believe that you are actually worthy enough to invest the time in yourself. You learn what's really important. You learn how to gain more energy for your daughters. So when you look at this checklist and you pick the 3 things that you are going to choose to do this week, not all the things, 3 things, I really hope one of the things is going to be the last checkbox. Joining the Faster Way, whether it's with me as a new client or it's with me as a VIP client. If you've already done the program before, you can truly start as soon as Monday. So I want to know if anyone has any questions for me. I am planning on following up with each of you on this call after the call is over. So I would love to chat with you a little bit more one-on-one to see kind of what is holding you back, what your barriers are. And I really look forward to seeing you in my program. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.